Chapter 541. Bang! Bang! The elites of the Shang family were sent flying backward like sandbags. With Lu Ming as the center, the heroes from the sacred family were thrown backward. They slid along the fighting ring at high speed. They only came to a stop after sliding for a few miles. Blood kept spurting out of their mouths. They were all martial artists of LV4 Martial King realm. They were vulnerable in front of Lu Ming. The martial artists of LV5 Martial King realm were also thrown back, but they didn't fall to the ground. They were still able to stand firm, but blood was spilling out of their mouths. Only the martial artists of LV6 Martial King realm were able to block the attack head-on, but they also took dozens of steps back. Even Shang Chong and Shang Lang took 7 or 8 steps back. The encirclement of the heroes of the Shang family was instantly shattered by Lu Ming's attack. Boom! Boom! Below the fighting ring, countless people couldn't control their emotions when they saw this scene. Their auras surged out violently, and their eyes were wide open as they roared. 3 wills of heaven and earth. Lu Ming has comprehended 3 wills of heaven and earth. 3 wills of heaven and earth were condensed into wills runes, and 2 of them were cultivated to the level 1 lower success. How did he do it? Impossible. Cultivating multiple wills will create resistance between each other. How did he do it? How could this be? He's too powerful. The Shang family is no match for him. They were all defeated in one move. He didn't use his full strength just now. Otherwise, he would have killed Shang Chuan and Shang Fei in one move. It turns out that he's not arrogant. He has the strength to do so. I understand now. He didn't get those soul-sealing jade tokens by plotting against others. He got them by himself by killing the zombie guards. He has the strength to do so. Many people around shouted. They couldn't control their emotions and didn't even care if their words would offend the Shang family. It was too shocking. How could this be? Shang Yao's old eyes almost popped out at this moment. His aura spread out uncontrollably. Many people around him stepped back in shock, but he didn't feel it at all. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming, full of disbelief. 3 kinds of concepts of heaven and earth, all of them, have been cultivated into concept runes, and 2 of them have reached level 1 lower tier. Why? Why? Shang Wushuang seemed to have lost his soul. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming as he muttered under his breath. He simply could not accept all of this. In the past, he had even mocked Lu Ming for cultivating multiple intents at the same time, and that he would never achieve anything. But now, he had only cultivated 1 concept and had yet to condense a concept rune. On the other hand, Lu Ming had cultivated 3 concepts, and all of them had condensed concept runes. 2 of them had even reached level 1 lesser success. Compared to Lu Ming, he was simply trash. No, he couldn't even be compared to trash. He was just dung. At this moment, his heart of martial arts collapsed. The aura on his body fluctuated unsteadily, and his eyes became lifeless. During this period of time, Lu Ming had dealt him a series of blows. Now, just a moment ago, this blow had finally reached its peak, shattering his heart of martial arts. Once his heart of martial arts was destroyed, it would be difficult for him to progress in martial arts. In other words, Shang Wushuang would never be able to break through to Martial King realm. It was ridiculous. Back then, he had said that Lu Ming would never be able to break through to Martial King realm. But now, the same thing had happened to him. What a piece of trash. Shang Yao shouted coldly when he saw Shang Wushuang's condition. In the fighting ring, Shang Chong, Shang Lang, and the others were also shocked. 1 move. Lu Ming had only used 1 move, but the power contained in that move was too terrifying. It was far beyond the peak of LV6 Martial King realm. You want to cripple me with such strength? Lu Ming held his long spear, his long hair fluttering in the wind. His aura was wild. Lu Ming, your strength is indeed not bad. How about this? Let's call this a draw. Shang Chong shouted as he looked at Lu Ming. There was a trace of fear in his eyes. The Shang family was completely defeated in this battle. But if it ended in a draw, the Shang family's reputation would be better. Everyone looked at Shang Chong with disdain. It was obvious that Shang Chong was afraid. A draw? Haha, do you think you're qualified to fight me to a draw? Lu Ming laughed and walked toward Shang Chong, Shang Lang, and the others with his long spear in hand. Lu Ming, Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Sheng Chong roared and couldn't help but step back. Nonsense. Either admit defeat or fight. Lu Ming shouted. Lu Ming, that's enough. Sheng Yao shouted coldly. Old man, is it your turn to speak on the Divine Guard battle ring? Lu Ming reprimanded him without turning his head. Sheng Yao was a Peak King and an elder of Emperor Sky Divine Palace. He had never been scolded by a junior before. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Lu Ming didn't stop and walked toward Sheng Chong and the others. Damn it, let's attack together. Sheng Chong roared. He knew that this battle couldn't be avoided. They could only fight. If they didn't even dare to fight and admitted defeat, they wouldn't have become a laughingstock and would have been punished by the Sheng family. Kill! Sheng Chong, Sheng Lang, and the others roared and unleashed their full strength. A green divine bird flew above Sheng Chong's head. The intent of wind spread out and a gale swept out. Above Sheng Lang's head was a giant wolf. The giant wolf's body was covered in flames, and the intent of fire filled the sky. There were also some 6th and 5th stage Martial King experts. There were 10 of them in total. Kill. 10 attacks flew toward Lu Ming from different angles. 10,000 dragons kill. Lu Ming thrust out his spear and dozens of 3-colored true dragons flew out and pounced toward the 10 Sheng family heroes. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed toward Sheng Chong and Sheng Lang. Shua! A huge spear radiance, thicker than a water tank, blasted toward the 2 heroes. The 2 heroes were shocked and used their strongest moves to block it, but it was useless. They were hit by the huge spear radiance and their bodies shook violently. They flew backward and spat out blood. They flew for several miles before they staggered and steadied themselves. Below the fighting ring, countless people looked at Lu Ming in shock. At this moment, Lu Ming was like an invincible god of war. He was invincible. A peerless genius. This was the only thought in everyone's mind. Maybe in 3 to 5 years, Lu Ming will be on the list of top 1,000 talents. I think so too. As long as Lu Ming keeps up this momentum, he will be on the list of top 1,000 talents in 3 to 5 years at most. In that case, our Tianxin domain will have 2 geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. Below the fighting ring, people whispered. Both of you, admit defeat. Lu Ming stared at Sheng Chong and Sheng Lang. You want us to admit defeat? Impossible. Lu Ming, unless you can knock us out of the fighting ring, we won't admit defeat. Sheng Lang shouted. Since you have some backbone, I'll fulfill your wish. Chapter 542. Everyone stared at the fighting ring. They felt that the battle was about to come to an end. Just then, a cold voice came from afar. Lu Ming, how dare you? As soon as the voice fell, a divine light shot from afar. The divine light was too fast. It crossed the void in an instant and shot towards Lu Ming's forehead. Lu Ming's face changed. He felt that the divine light contained terrifying power and killing intent. His body instantly tensed up, and all the hairs on his body stood on end. This was an instinctive reaction. He felt a fatal threat from this divine light. Without any hesitation, he retreated. At the same time, the 9 dragons' bloodline activated and devouring power filled the area. The true essence in his body circulated to the extreme. The 3 wills of heaven and earth merged and surged towards the long spear. True Dragon Strike. He thrust out the spear and a huge tricolor true dragon flew out and collided with the divine light. Boom! There was a loud explosion. The divine light pierced through the tricolor true dragon and the 3 wills of heaven and earth on it collapsed. Whoosh! The divine light did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. Extreme Dao Strike. At the critical moment, Lu Ming stopped retreating. He became one with the spear and turned into a spear radiance that pierced forward. Boom! The tip of the spear accurately pierced the divine light. In an instant, Lu Ming felt a terrifying power surging towards him along the long spear. Lu Ming felt as if he had been hit by a big hammer. His body slid back along the fighting ring. He slid back for a few miles before coming to a stop. He felt his blood boil and his arm holding the spear tremble slightly. Crack! At this moment, The tip of the demon banishing spear let out a cracking sound, and cracks began to appear on its surface. Then, more and more cracks appeared. Finally, with a bang, the tip of the demon banishing spear exploded into pieces and scattered all over the ground. After withstanding Lu Ming's powerful force and the bombardment of the divine light, the demon-suppressing spear finally could not take it anymore and exploded. However, the divine light was successfully blocked by Lu Ming. Who is it? Lu Ming looked in the direction of the divine light. He wasn't the only one. At this moment, everyone looked in that direction. A slender figure wearing a 7-starred robe with his hands clasped behind his back walked through the air step by step. Everyone's hearts shook violently. Within profound Heaven City, there was a forbidden zone. Ordinary kings simply couldn't walk in the air. Only peak kings could barely walk in the air. This person was very young, about 24 or 25 years old. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were like stars. He was extremely handsome. Starlight filled the air around him, making him look like a god that had descended into the world. Holy star! It's a holy star! Someone roared. It's over. Lu Ming is finished. I didn't expect that even the sacred star would be attracted here. This time, Lu Ming is really finished. Heavens! Shangxing's cultivation seems to have improved. He can actually walk in the air. Could it be that he has already broken through to the Peak King realm? Many people were shocked. Such a young Peak King was simply too shocking and incredible. No, Shangxing hasn't broken through to the Peak King realm. He should still be at the peak of the 9th level Martial King realm. However, his strength is too strong. He's no weaker than a Peak King, so he can walk in the air. A white-haired old man explained. Shang Yao was not the only elder present. There were other elders present as well. This white-haired old man was one of them. Oh, I see. That's also amazing. The others sighed. How old was Shangxing? He was only 25 years old, but he had already reached the peak of the 9th level Martial King realm. Didn't this mean that he had a chance to open his spiritual sea and become a Sea of Soul realm expert before the age of 30? Countless gazes were fixed on the youth in the air. Shangxing. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly as he stared at Shangxing. Ever since he came to profound Heaven City, Lu Ming had heard this name many times. Shangxing was the #1 genius in Tianqian domain and a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness. He was the idol of countless young geniuses in Tianqian domain. The other so-called geniuses in Tianqian domain were like candlelight in front of Shangxing. They couldn't be compared at all. Shangxing walked in the air and arrived above the divine guard battle platform. He looked down at Lu Ming. Stars seemed to twinkle in his eyes. Young Master Xingchun, Shang Chong, Shang Lang, and the others hurriedly bowed when they saw Lu Ming. They looked nervous as if they were very afraid of Shangxing. Shangxing was the chosen successor of the Shang family. In the future, he would definitely be at the helm of the Shang family. It could be said that their fates were under his control. They were naturally afraid of Shangxing. Shangxing glanced at them indifferently and said expressionlessly, "All of you, leave and heal yourselves." Yes, yes. Shang Chong and the others felt as if they had been pardoned. They supported each other and left the battle platform. Then, Shangxing looked at Lu Ming again. "So you're Lu Ming. You've got guts to injure so many people of my Shang family," Shangxing said indifferently. No one could tell what emotion he was feeling from his voice. Divine Guard Battle Platform. "It's just a fair battle," Lu Ming said. "Haha." Shangxing chuckled and said, "You're not bad. I just happen to be lacking a coachman. You'll report to work as a coachman for 3 years. If you perform well, you'll naturally be promoted." Shangxing stood in the air with his hands behind his back. Although his voice wasn't loud, it was filled with a commanding tone as if this matter had already been decided. Around them, many people revealed looks of surprise. They never thought that Shangxing would let Lu Ming go so easily. He even asked Lu Ming to be his coachman. In many people's eyes, being a coachman for the Saint Star was a supreme honor. This was a position that belonged to the Saint Star's trusted aides. Their status would rise along with the tide, and a casual word from them would cause many emperors of great countries to tremble in fear. Moreover, Shangxing might even be guided by Shangxing. How honorable was that? In many people's eyes, Shang-Xing was not punishing Shang-Xing, but rewarding him. It seems that Lu Ming's talent has been valued by Shang-Xing. Someone exclaimed. Damn it! Sheng Wushuang gritted his teeth. He was jealous of Lu Ming. If this opportunity fell on him, he would wake up laughing in his dreams. Now, this opportunity fell on Lu Ming. Do you think Lu Ming will agree? Someone asked in a low voice. Nonsense, of course he'll agree. Who is Shang-Xing? He's a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents. Although Lu Ming's talent is very high, I think he's still far from Shang-Xing. It's good enough that he can become Shang-Xing's coachman. Yes, if he doesn't agree, Shang-Xing will definitely not let him go. In such a situation, he'll definitely agree. Yes, it's not shameful to be Shang-Xing's coachman. Many people were speculating curiously. Chapter 543. Shang-Xing, right? Lu Ming stared at Shang-Xing with a faint smile on his face. At this moment, the scene quieted down. Everyone looked at Lu Ming, waiting to see how he would respond. Shang-Xing, I think you're not bad. My courtyard is lacking a gatekeeper. Pack up and quickly report to me. A clear voice came from Lu Ming's mouth, but it swept through the crowd like a storm. Everyone was stunned. After a long while, a shocking uproar broke out. Lu Ming refused. Not only did he refuse, but he also asked Shang-Xing to guard his door. Heavens, he's got guts. This is adding fuel to the fire. It's fine if he refused, but he actually asked Shang-Xing to guard his door. Is he qualified? Excited discussions broke out all around. Lu Ming, how dare you speak to my Shang clan's young master like that? You're courting death. Young Master Xing Chun wants you to be his groom because he thinks highly of you. Many people want to know, but you actually dare to speak to him like that. You're simply arrogant, ignorant, and stubborn. Sheng Yao scolded loudly from the side. As for Sheng Wushuang, he simply wanted to laugh to death. Just now, he was really afraid that Lu Ming would agree. You refused? Shang-Xing's face was still calm. No expression could be seen as he asked indifferently. Nonsense. If others are willing to be your dog, that's their business. But why would I, Lu Ming, do that? In this world, no one can make me his groom, including you, Shang-Xing. Lu Ming said loudly. As soon as he said that, it caused a wave of curses. What an ignorant and arrogant son of a bitch. Who does he think he is? He thinks he's number one with a bit of talent. What a joke. He's comparing himself to the sacred star. Who does he think he is? What qualifications does he have to be compared to young Master Xing Chun? At this moment, Shang-Xing's face finally turned cold. With a wave of his hand, as if there was a huge magical power, the crowd immediately quieted down. I gave you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. Since that's the case, I'll cripple you. A cold voice came from Saint Star's mouth. Boom. In the next moment, the starlight on the sacred star burned like a flame, illuminating the entire sky. This is the concept of stars. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. In the world, other than the 9 common concepts of wind, fire, and thunder, there were many other special concepts. However, these special concepts were often extremely difficult to comprehend, but they were often extremely powerful. The concept of stars was such a special concept. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, the starlight condensed into dozens of long swords that pierced through the air, piercing towards Lu Ming's vitals. Wherever the stars passed, terrifying and shocking sonic booms could be heard. Don't take it head-on. Lu Ming's pupils suddenly shrank. The sacred star was too powerful. It wasn't something he could fight against. Retreat. Without hesitation, Lu Ming turned around and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. He took a step forward and retreated at a frightening speed. You want to escape in front of me? Saint Star shouted as the starlight on his body became even more dazzling. At the same time, starlight sprinkled down from the sky above Lu Ming's head and condensed into a giant hand that pressed down on Lu Ming. This giant hand seemed to have appeared out of thin air above Lu Ming's head. There was no way to avoid it. Block. Lu Ming growled as he activated 2 bloodlines. A lower LV5 long spear appeared in his hand. His true essence circulated crazily as three concepts burst out. He stabbed the spear at the star hand. Boom. With a loud boom, Lu Ming's body fell from the sky like a meteorite and heavily smashed into the edge of the fighting ring, coughing up blood. Pong. The lower LV5 long spear in Lu Ming's hand was shattered. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. You're overestimating yourself. It's just a meaningless struggle. Saint Star looked indifferent as he stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He looked down at Lu Ming condescendingly as if he was an emperor who ruled over everything. Saint Star, why are you pretending? Do you really think you're a peerless genius who can look down on everything? You're only ranked 998th on the list of top 1,000 talents. There are many people stronger than you. Why are you so arrogant? Also, how old are you? You're 5 years older than me. What's there to be proud of? If I cultivate for another 5 years, I can suppress you with one finger. Lu Ming hollered. He stood upright and stared at the sacred star with bright eyes. Many people's eyes lit up at his words. Indeed, how old was Lu Ming now? It would be an exaggeration to say that he could suppress Saint Star with one finger when he was at Saint Star's age. However, it was not impossible for him to reach Saint Star's current level. Everyone had seen Lu Ming's combat strength and talent. Some people felt that Lu Ming had the potential to be ranked on the list of top 1,000 talents. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. On the path of martial arts, you'll be stronger every step you take. You'll never be a match for me. Are you trying to provoke me into letting you go? Haha, I'm not interested in that. So, I'll just cripple you first, said Shang-Xing coldly. Starlight surged around him as he was about to unleash the next wave of attacks. It seems that I can only use the Thunder Cauldron. With my current cultivation, I can definitely kill Saint Star with one blow if I use the Thunder Cauldron. However, I won't be able to fight back. There's no other way now. Lu Ming's eyes flashed viciously. He immediately focused his mind and communicated with the Thunder Cauldron. Lu Ming's glabella flickered with a faint light and traces of lightning power. He could control the Thunder Cauldron to launch a fatal blow at any time. Stop. Just then, a soft shout was heard. Caw. Then, a bird's cry was heard. Everyone saw that in the sky, a large green condor was flying towards them at an extremely fast speed. There were two figures standing on the eagle's back. Mu Xiuyuan and senior sister Mulin's. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The two people on the eagle's back were Mulin's and Mu Xiuyuan. That's Miss Mulin's. What's Miss Mulin's doing here? Many people were curious. Saint Star's eyes flickered slightly. The starlight on his body also calmed down and he stopped attacking. Caw. The eagle cried. The next moment, the eagle appeared above the divine guard battle platform. Mulin's and Mu Xiuyuan jumped down from the eagle's back and appeared on the divine guard battle platform. Lu Ming, are you all right? Mulin's immediately walked toward Lu Ming with concern in her eyes. It's just a small injury. I'm fine. Senior sister Mulin's, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Lu Ming smiled. He hadn't seen Mulin's for more than a year. Mulin's had become more mature and charming. Her curves were even more stunning. One look at her, and one would have an irresistible impulse. Countless pairs of fiery eyes stared at Mulan from all directions. It's been a long time indeed. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to reach this stage. You didn't disappoint me. Mulin's revealed a faint smile. Loner, move aside. This kid has injured many of my Saint family's elites. Let me cripple this kid first. Chapter 544. As soon as Mulin's arrived, she was talking and laughing with Lu Ming as if there was no one around. This made his killing intent sore. Sacred Star, let him go. Let go of Lu Ming. Only then did Mulan turn around and look at the Sacred Star. Loner, what did you say? Sacred Star's face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Sacred Star, I'm here today. Don't even think about hurting a single hair of his. Mulin's said. Mulin's. Sacred Star's eyes were filled with killing intent like a storm. Mulan was his fiancée in the Sacred Star Palace. Yet, she was protecting another man in front of everyone. How could he still have any face left? At this moment, Sacred Star's killing intent towards Lu Ming did not decrease. Instead, it increased. I only wanted to cripple him, but now, he must die. Sacred Star's cold and emotionless voice came out from his mouth. How dare you? Mulan stood in front of Lu Ming. At this moment, the spectators looked at each other. Some of them were smart enough to figure out what was going on. Strange expressions appeared on their faces. Mulans, do you think you can stop me? Get out of my way. Sacred Star waved his hand and starlight burst out. It was like ribbons of light that wrapped around Mulans and Mu Xiuyuan. Boom, boom. Mulans and Mu Xiuyuan unleashed their powerful auras. After not seeing each other for a while, Mulans had reached the Martial King realm and Mu Xiuyuan's cultivation had reached the peak of LV6 Martial King realm. However, it was all in vain. Under the starlight of Sacred Star, they could not resist at all. The starlight wrapped around them and pulled them to Sacred Star's side. Senior Mulans, Lu Ming shouted. Lu Ming. Mulans also shouted. Lu Ming, let's see who can save you now. Die. The Saint Star was filled with cold killing intent. Before this, he still felt that Lu Ming's talent was not bad and wanted to recruit him for his own use. But now, he had already made up his mind to kill Lu Ming. Boom. Cold killing intent and a powerful aura erupted from Shang Xing's body. Shang Xing clenched his fist, and a starry battle sword appeared in his hand. It's still not certain who will live and who will die on the Sacred Star. Lu Ming's gaze was also incomparably cold as he stared at the Sacred Star. Wisps of lightning swam between his eyebrows. With just you? Shang Xing sneered disdainfully. He took a step forward, and the Divine Guard battle platform rumbled. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly, and the ruthlessness in them intensified. He knew that even if he could use the lightning cauldron to kill Shang Xingchen, he wouldn't be able to survive. The other members of the sacred clan wouldn't let him off, and the secret of the lightning cauldron would be exposed. But now, he had no other choice. Stop, Shang Xing. I promise you that as long as you let Lu Ming go, I will marry you in a year. Mulan shouted at this moment. The Sacred Star's figure came to a halt. He then turned around and looked at Mulan's. It seems like this kid is really important in your heart. You don't have to worry about this. I promise to marry you in a year as long as you let Lu Ming go. If you kill him, I would rather die than marry you. Mulan said. Senior sister Mulans, you can't. Lu Ming shouted. However, Mulan ignored Lu Ming and continued to stare at the Sacred Star. All right, I promise you. But not in a year's time, but in half a year's time. You and I will get married in half a year's time, and I will let this kid go. Shang Xing said coldly. Half a year? Mulans gritted her teeth, glanced at Lu Ming and said, All right, I promise you. Seeing Mulans agree, Shang Xing waved his hand, and the light of the stars around Mulans and Mu Xiuyuan dissipated. The two of them regained their freedom. As soon as the two of them regained their freedom, they walked towards Lu Ming. Senior sister Mulans, why did you agree to his request? He may not be able to kill me, Lu Ming said, full of unwillingness. Mulans smiled slightly, thinking that Lu Ming was saying it out of anger. She didn't care and said, Lu Ming, we are engaged after all. Perhaps this is fate. I always want to escape, but in the end, I can't escape. A long sigh sounded softly. Kiki. Lu Ming clenched his fists so hard that they made cracking sounds. He knew that Mulans was doing this because of him. Otherwise, with Mulan's character, she would never agree to it. Lu Ming, since Lan has pleaded for you today, I will spare your life. Shang Xing said coldly. Immediately after, he revealed a contemptuous look and continued, Lu Ming, a person like you, who can only hide behind a woman, is not worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as me. After saying that, he smiled contemptuously and turned around to leave. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice sounded. Shang Xing, since this is the case, do you dare to accept my challenge? Hua. Lu Ming's voice was like a storm, sweeping across the entire place. Many people were dumbfounded. What? What did I just hear? Lu Ming wants to challenge Shang Xing? He has guts, he's courting death. Arrogant and conceited. This is arrogant and conceited. The entire place burst into an uproar. In Tianqian domain, no one from the younger generation dared to challenge Shang Xing for a few years. You want to challenge me? Shang Xing turned around and asked. Even he was a little surprised. That's right. Shang Xing, half a year later, you and I will fight. Do you dare? Lu Ming said loudly. Half a year later? A cold smile appeared on the corners of Shang Xing's mouth. He glanced at Mulan and said, Could it be that you think you can catch up to me in half a year? Fight with me? You don't have to worry about this. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, no, you don't have to do this for me, Mulan said anxiously. She knew that the reason why Lu Ming chose to challenge Shang Xing in half a year must have something to do with her. However, with Lu Ming's cultivation, it was impossible for him to be Shang Xing's opponent in half a year's time. Lu Ming could fight those above his level, so could Shang Xing. If Lu Ming could improve, so could Shang Xing. It was almost impossible to catch up to the Saint Star in just half a year. It wasn't that she didn't have confidence in Lu Ming. She was very confident in Lu Ming. She believed that Lu Ming would be able to catch up with Shang Xing in a few years. However, half a year was too short. Lu Ming waved his hand and interrupted Mulan's. Senior Sister Mulan's, this battle is imperative. Even if it's not for you, I will still pay for today's humiliation. Lu Ming's voice was firm and unquestionable. Shang Xing, say it. Do you dare? Lu Ming looked at Shang Xing intently. All right, I promise you. I will let you know what despair is in half a year's time. You will never be able to catch up with me. Shang Xing's voice was full of confidence. The scene was in an uproar. Shang Xing actually agreed to Lu Ming's challenge. The two would fight in half a year's time. Moreover, this battle would be very interesting. If Shang Xing was defeated, his wedding with Mulan's would definitely be affected or even cancelled. If Lu Ming was defeated, Shang Xing could use the momentum of victory to marry Mulan's. Chapter 545. Do you think Lu Ming has any hope in half a year? How is that possible? The sacred star will probably become a peak king in half a year. How can Lu Ming have any hope? There's no hope at all. I think so too, but I'm still looking forward to it. Me too. We can't miss it in half a year. Around them, everyone was discussing excitedly. The sacred star didn't say anything else. He turned around and left, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. This Lu Ming, he has escaped a calamity again. Shang Wushuang clenched his teeth. So what if he escaped? He's still going to die in half a year. We'll just let him live for another half a year. Shang Yao snorted, but Shang Wushuang still had some worry in his eyes. Lu Ming was just too monstrous. Every time he saw Lu Ming's cultivation would increase explosively. Shang Wushuang was already a little afraid. He was afraid that the next time they met, Lu Ming would have reached an unknown level. Even if Lu Ming has some talent, do you really think he can catch up to the sacred star young lord in half a year? There's no chance at all. Shang Yao said. Not bad, not bad. Shang Wushuang kept comforting himself, but he was still very nervous inside. After that, the crowd slowly dispersed. However, the news of Lu Ming challenging the sacred star in half a year's time, as well as the news of Shang Wushuang marrying Mulan in half a year's time, spread like wildfire. It caused an earthquake. On the Divine Guard battle platform, Lu Ming, you shouldn't have challenged the sacred star young lord. Mulan's looked at Lu Ming with some blame. However, she didn't know why, but she was a little happy. She knew that Lu Ming had challenged Shang Wushuang mostly because of her. Senior Sister Mulan's, don't you have so little confidence in me? Don't worry, in half a year, I'll definitely beat Shang Wushuang until he's half paralyzed and can't marry you. Lu Ming said with a smile. You're still so confident. Mulan rolled her eyes at Lu Ming, revealing a smile at the corners of her lips. Hey, Senior Sister Mulan's, why don't you want to marry the sacred star young lord? Although this guy has an arrogant expression that makes people unhappy, to be honest, he still has some ability and looks good. Wait, don't tell me you don't want to marry him because you like me? Lu Ming smiled at Mulan's. Like you? Stop dreaming. Mulan pouted coquettishly. Her face was a little red, and she looked incomparably charming. Then, she sighed and said, who would want their fate to be determined by someone else since they were young? Besides, It's hard to say when it comes to feelings. Although Shang Xingchun is a genius, he doesn't have any feelings for him. Lu Ming had a spurious smile. Cough, cough. At this time, Mu Shiyuan coughed a few times and said, "Shouldn't we leave this place now?" And, yes, let's go." Mulin's face was red as she said hurriedly. Lu Ming's gaze and smile were too much for her to handle. Immediately after, Mu Lan gestured for the giant eagle in the sky to leave on its own. She, Lu Ming, and Mu Shiyuan walked down from the fighting ring and walked toward a street. "Lu Ming, where are you staying now?" Mulin's asked. "I'm staying in a house in the city," Lu Ming said. "Oh, how about this? You can move to the 4th district. You can cultivate faster in the 4th district. I'll arrange a courtyard for you," Mulin said. Mulin's father was the palace master of the Tianxian branch. He had the authority to arrange a courtyard in the 4th district. Then, the three of them walked toward the 4th district. The 4th district was blocked by a city wall. There were experts guarding the city gate. Ordinary people were not allowed to trespass, or they would be killed without mercy. However, Lu Ming had Mulin's and Mu Shiyuan to lead the way. Naturally, he entered the 4th district without any obstacles. What a strong spiritual chi of heaven and earth. What a strong realm of heaven and earth. As soon as they entered the 4th district, Lu Ming exclaimed repeatedly. He realized that the spiritual chi of heaven and earth here was extremely dense, as if it was about to materialize. The realm of heaven and earth was even stronger than the Tao Enlightenment Palace in the east. It was hard for one's cultivation not to improve if they stayed here for a long time. No wonder the younger generation of the Shang family had so many experts and martial king experts. In such an environment, even a pig would be able to cultivate to a decent level. Mulin's and Mu Shiyuan led Lu Ming to the depths of the 4th district. Soon, they arrived in front of a courtyard. "Miss Mulin's." At the entrance of the courtyard, an old man bowed to Mulin's. "Well, Elder Qian, Lu Ming will stay in this courtyard from now on." Mulin's pointed at Lu Ming. Elder Qian looked at Lu Ming with a trace of surprise in his eyes. He then nodded and said, "Yes, Lu Ming, let's go in and take a look at the environment." Mulin's smiled. "Okay." Lu Ming nodded. The three of them walked into the courtyard. In terms of size, this courtyard was not as big as the East Sky courtyard in the east. This was normal. This was the 4th district of Tianxian City. Its value was terrifyingly high. The area was naturally not big. However, the layout was very elegant. It was very suitable for cultivation, comprehension of realm, and martial techniques. Lu Ming was very satisfied. The three of them walked around and returned to the courtyard. "Lu Ming, this token is for you. With this token, you can freely enter and exit the 4th district." Mulin's took out a purple token and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming received it and kept it. "Senior Sister Mulin's, I wonder if there are any inscription masters in Tianxian City. I would like to ask an inscription master to refine a spear for me," Lu Ming asked. Previously, the tip of the demon vanquishing spear was already broken. As for ordinary level 5 inferior grade long spears, Lu Ming had 2 of them. They were obtained from others. However, level 5 inferior grade spears were not of much use. Of course, there are inscription masters in Tianxian City. Moreover, there are more than one. "What grade spirit spear do you want to refine?" Mulin's asked. "It's best if it's grade 6, Lu Ming said. "Grade 6? Mulin's and Mu Shiyuan were both shocked. Grade 6 spirit weapon was a spirit weapon specially used by Sea of Soul Realm experts. Its power was extremely frightening. However, the materials required were also terrifyingly expensive. Lu Ming actually wanted to refine a grade 6 spear? Lu Ming nodded. His cultivation progress was very fast. Moreover, his Zhen Yuan was too abundant. It was 10 times more than ordinary people. Moreover, the martial techniques he cultivated were extremely tyrannical. The requirements for spirit weapons were extremely high. Ordinary spirit weapons simply could not bear his explosive power. The demon vanquishing spear's material was already very good. However, it still could not bear it. Only a grade 6 spirit weapon would be enough for Lu Ming to use for a period of time. Lu Ming, the price of refining a grade 6 spirit weapon is terrifyingly high. I don't have that many spirit crystals on me. Chapter 546. Senior Sister Mullins, you don't have to worry about this. I'll take care of it. Lu Ming smiled. He had nearly 9 million spirit crystals on him. He believed that it was enough to refine a grade 6 spirit weapon. Mu Shuyuan and Mullins were extremely astonished. Lu Ming could even afford a grade 6 spirit weapon? It seemed like they'd still underestimated Lu Ming. All right then. There's a grade 6 inscription master in Profound Sky City, and he's a good friend of my father. However, he's not free these 2 days. How about this? I'll come look for you in 3 days and take you to see that inscription master. Mullins said, All right. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He hadn't expected that there would really be a grade 6 inscription master in Profound Sky City. Grade 6 inscription masters were extremely rare. Their status was extremely high and respected, and they were even more respected than ordinary Sea of Soul Realm experts. Sea of Soul Realm experts were extremely rare in the entire Profound Sky region. Every single one of them was a figure that could dominate Profound Sky region. The 3 realms of spiritual God were respectively Sea of Soul Realm, Spiritual Embryo Realm, and Spiritual God Realm. Every realm was incomparably profound. At the same time, the power they grasped was incomparably terrifying. It simply had the ability to destroy the heavens and earth. It was absolutely not something that Martial King Realm experts could compare to. After the Domain Enlightened Spirit God Realm was the Martial Monarch Realm. The peak of the Spiritual God Realm was also called Supremacy. Supremacy 9 Suns was the peak of the Spiritual God Realm and was only a step away from the Martial Emperor Realm. Of course, that realm was extremely far away from Lu Ming. Now wasn't the time to think about this. Next, Lu Ming chatted with Mullins and Mu Shuyuan for a while. Lu Ming, heal your injuries first, Mullins instructed with some concern. Then, she left with Mu Shuyuan. After Mullins and Mu Shuyuan left, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and circulated his qi to heal his injuries. Previously, Lu Ming had taken 2 of the Sacred Stars' attacks head-on, causing him to suffer heavy injuries. He also knew that the Sacred Star hadn't used much strength in those 2 moves. Otherwise, Lu Ming definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand them. 3 hours later, Lu Ming's injuries were much better. He believed that he would be completely healed in less than a day. Half a year. If we want to catch up to the Sacred Star in half a year, we need more resources. The most important thing is the will of the heavens and earth. As long as the will of the heavens and earth increases, as long as I have supreme grade spiritual crystals, my cultivation will continue to increase. Lu Ming pondered. Lu Ming now had the Enlightenment Ancient Tree and comprehended the concept of heaven and earth extremely quickly. However, Lu Ming was not satisfied. At this speed, there was no way they would be able to catch up to the Sacred Star in half a year. Profound crystals. If I have a large amount of profound crystals and the Enlightenment Ancient Tree, I'll be able to comprehend the will of heaven and earth much faster. Only then will I be able to catch up to the Saint Star. Lu Ming pondered. To be honest, Lu Ming was also under a lot of pressure. The main thing was that the time was too short, only half a year. Half a year later, I must defeat the Sacred Star. If I can't defeat the Sacred Star, how can I fight against Martial Emperor De in the future? Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly, his gaze firm. Immediately, Lu Ming took out the Enlightenment Ancient Tree and placed it beside him. Then, he took out a Fire Profound Crystal. He planned to improve his will of fire first. Now, Lu Ming's will of fire had reached the early stage of level 1 lesser success, which was only slightly weaker than the will of thunder. However, Lu Ming had 320 fire attribute profundity crystals in his hands. He could comprehend the fire concept the fastest. Crack. Lu Ming exerted his strength and crushed the fire attribute profound meaning crystal. Threads of concept permeated the surroundings of Lu Ming. Lu Ming closed his eyes and started to comprehend the will of fire. Originally, the will of heaven and earth in this area was a little stronger than in the Enlightenment Ancient Tree and the profound crystals. Lu Ming's comprehension of the will of fire had reached a terrifying speed. His comprehension of the will of fire had increased crazily. Crack, crack. Lu Ming crushed another piece of fire attribute profound meaning crystal after he had used it up, one after another. After a day, Lu Ming had consumed 20 fire profound crystals. Lu Ming's will of fire had a breakthrough, reaching the middle stage of level 1 lesser success, catching up with the will of thunder. Fast, too fast. One day's time was equivalent to a year's time for others, or even longer. At this time, Lu Ming's injuries had already healed. Continue. Lu Ming continued to take out fire profound crystals and crush them, continuing to comprehend the will of fire. In the blink of an eye, the 3-day time limit with Mulin's had arrived. In less than 3 days, Lu Ming had consumed a total of 60 fire attribute profundity crystals. Lu Ming's comprehension of the will of fire had reached the peak of the middle stage of level 1 lesser success, almost reaching the late stage of level 1 lesser success. The comprehension of the will of fire was more difficult as one progressed. As long as his will of fire reached the late stage of level 1 lesser success, Lu Ming's cultivation could be improved again, reaching the 5th level of Martial King realm. If the will of fire did not improve, it would be difficult to improve one's cultivation. On this day, Mulin's arrived at Lu Ming's courtyard on time. Lu Ming, let's go. I'll take you to see the inscription master. Mulin said. Okay. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was looking forward to it. Mulin's led Lu Ming into the depths of the city. There were very few pedestrians on the streets of the 4th area. Presumably, if he wasn't training outside, he was working hard in closed-door cultivation. Lu Ming followed Mulin's, turning left and right, and came to a shabby stone house. Is this the residence of the inscription master? Lu Ming was surprised. Yes, this inscription master has a strange temper, but he is good friends with my father. He should agree to help you, right? Mulin said. However, from her tone, she didn't sound very confident. Lu Ming could not help but touch his nose. The two walked into the stone house. There was a small courtyard inside, but there were all kinds of scrap metal piled up in the courtyard like garbage. Uncle Huang, Mulin's called out in a low voice. Who is it? You're disturbing my dream again. Suddenly, an aged voice sounded in the courtyard. Lu Ming was shocked. The voice seemed to be ringing in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming hurriedly turned around, but he did not see a shadow. Lu Ming sensed carefully, but there was no aura at all. Uncle Huang, it's me, Mulin's. I have something to ask you for help today. Mulin said softly, looking around with her beautiful eyes. So it's Little Lawn. Okay, I admit defeat. Tell me, what do you want from me? The old voice sounded again. Uncle Huang, I want to ask you to help me refine a level 6 spiritual weapon spear. Mulin said. Level 6 spiritual weapon spear? This little girl really dares to ask. You want to refine it for this young man, right? Well, have you brought the spiritual crystals? Have you brought the materials? The old voice sounded. Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists in the air and said, I have the spiritual crystals, but I don't have the materials to refine a level 6 spiritual weapon. You don't have the materials to refine a level 6 spiritual weapon? Well, I'll exchange them with spiritual crystals. I'll pay the materials for you. A total of 5 million spiritual crystals. The old voice sounded. 5 million spiritual crystals? Mulin's widened her eyes in shock. Uncle Huang, 5 million supreme-grade spiritual crystals is too expensive. On the market, LV6 spiritual weapon is only a few 100,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals. Chapter 547. Indeed, a level 6 spirit weapon was many times more expensive than a level 5 spirit weapon used by kings. But to say that one needed 5 million spirit crystals was a bit frightening. It was completely exorbitant. Clang, clang. This old man's hair and beard were a mess. It was unknown how long it had been since he last cleaned it, as it was covered in dirt. Lu Ming was stunned. This old man had actually been sleeping in the pile of scrap. This was the level 6 inscription master? Little girl, don't compare those pieces of scrap metal with the spiritual weapons that I have personally refined. Moreover, those LV6 spiritual weapons that are worth hundreds of thousands of pieces of supreme-grade spiritual crystals are all lower LV6 or middle LV6. What's the use of them? Those that I have refined are definitely at the peak of LV6. Do you understand? The moment the old man appeared, he ran in front of Mullins and yelled, Uncle Huang, 5 million supreme spiritual crystals is too expensive. Mullins said, 5 million spirit crystals was something that even peak kings might not be able to take out, not to mention them. Even Sea of Soul Realm experts would feel the pinch. If you don't have spirit crystals, then forget it. I don't do business that loses money. The old man waved his hand. As long as the spirit weapon's quality is good, spirit crystals are not a problem. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Mullins looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. Could Lu Ming even take out 5 million spirit crystals? The old man also looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. If you have spirit crystals, then it's easy. Tell me, what requirements do you have for the spirit weapon long spear? The old man asked. Every martial artist had different requirements for their spirit weapons according to the martial techniques they cultivated. Some people liked nimble ones, while others liked heavy ones. Hardness. First, whether it's the spear shaft or the spear tip, it needs to be absolutely tough and able to withstand an intense explosion. Also, the spear shaft needs to be tough, and flexible. Lastly, the heavier the better. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before replying, Little fellow, you sure have a lot of requests. The old man grinned and went into deep thought. After a long while, the old man said, There are very few people who use spears. I don't have many materials that are suitable for making spears. I do have a piece of steel that is not bad. It is suitable for making the spear tip, but what about the spear shaft? We do have ordinary materials, but we don't have anything that meets your requirements. The old man frowned and muttered, Little guy, think about it. Since you use a spear, you should have collected some materials. Think about it. Do you have any suitable materials to refine a spear? If you do, I will charge less spirit crystals. The old man said, Myself? Lu Ming was also racking his brains, but he really didn't have any suitable ones. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. With a move of his hand, a broken spear appeared. This broken spear only had half of it. The other half of the spear was missing. It was the broken spear that was shot out from the heavenly gate. This broken spear didn't have any spirituality, but its material was indeed very tough. Lu Ming didn't know what material it was made of. Maybe it could be useful. Senior, look at this broken spear. Whoosh! Before Lu Ming could finish his words, a figure flashed and the broken spear in his hand disappeared and appeared in the old man's hand. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The old man's cultivation was unfathomable. He didn't even see how the old man made his move. He saw the old man staring at the broken spear. His originally turbid eyes were now as bright as two light bulbs, blazing with passion. The old man gently stroked the spear shaft with both hands. As the old man's palms moved, strange runes appeared on the spear shaft. This is a refining method from the ancient era. There are inscriptions from the ancient era in it. It's a priceless treasure, a priceless treasure. Ha! The old man suddenly laughed hysterically. Lu Ming and Mullins looked at each other. It was just a broken spear. What value did it have? Why did the old man say it was a priceless treasure? Little guy, where did you get this broken spear from? The old man asked. I got it by accident in an ancient battlefield. Lu Ming lied. Yes, this broken spear has a long history. Although it has lost its spirituality and only half of it is left, it's a waste in your hands. But in my hands, it's a priceless treasure. The old man laughed. Seeing Lu Ming and Mullins' puzzled faces, the old man explained. The remnant inscriptions on this spear are ancient inscriptions that have been lost for a long time. They are extremely useful to me. After I study them, I might be able to reach a higher level in the art of refining. Just this point alone makes this a priceless treasure. Little guy, give this spear to me. I'll do my best to refine a spear for you. I won't take a single cent. How about it? The old man looked at Lu Ming. Okay. Lu Ming agreed without hesitation. Anyway, this spear was useless in his hands. If he gave it to the old man, he could save 5 million supreme-grade spirit crystals. Lu Ming was willing to give it up. Ha ha ha. Seeing that Lu Ming had agreed, the elder was very happy. He smiled and said, Young lad, I won't let you suffer a loss. This half of the long spear contains a rare and strange metal called the infinite black gold. If you use this metal to forge the spirit weapon, it will have infinite potential. In the future, as long as you continue to condense and smelt other metals into it, this spirit weapon will be able to evolve and upgrade continuously. What? It can continue to evolve and upgrade? Lu Ming and Mulin's were dumbfounded and shocked. There was actually such a magical metal. Lu Ming's eyes were glowing and burning with passion. That's right. In ancient times, there was quite a bit of infinite black gold. But now, there is less and less infinite black gold. It is a great fortune for you to be able to obtain some. Wait for me to study the inscriptions on it. Then I will smelt this infinite black gold into your spirit weapon long spear. The old man said, "Thank you, Senior." Lu Ming bowed and cupped his fists. Ha ha ha, there's no need to thank me. I should be the one thanking you. However, with such a good material, the other materials can't be lacking. Otherwise, it would be a waste. Now, the key is the material of the spear shaft. The old man frowned. After a while, the old man's eyes lit up. I got it. For the spear shaft, it's most suitable to use 1,000 refined blood gold. 1,000 refined blood gold? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. 1,000 refined blood gold is an extremely precious metal. It has to be refined 1,000 times, and every time. It has to be added with the blood of demonic beasts. Only after 1,000 times can it be refined. However, I don't have any 1,000 refined blood gold, so I'll need you to make a trip. The old man said, "Where can I get this 1,000 refined blood gold?" Chapter 548. In the Tianqian region, only the weapon forging sect in the north has it. Coincidentally, I once helped the weapon forging sect master. As long as you go to the weapon forging sect and say that I asked you to go, the weapon forging sect master will definitely give you a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold. The old man explained. Oh, so it's in the weapon forging sect? Mulin's nodded. All right, I'll make a trip there now. Lu Ming nodded. Little guy, take this pagoda. It's my keepsake. My name is Huang Pagoda. You can call me Elder Huang in the future. The old man took out a fist-sized pagoda and threw it to Lu Ming. Yes, Elder Huang. After Lu Ming put it away, his gaze flickered and he said, Elder Huang, I still have something that I need your help with. What is it? Speak. As long as I can do it, I'll definitely help. Elder Huang smiled. He was in a good mood after obtaining the broken spear. In his eyes, Lu Ming was simply adorable. A longsword appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was an ordinary longsword, a rank 2 spiritual weapon. It was the heavenly star sword that his father had left for him. Lu Yuntian had said that the heavenly star sword contained the secret of the martial emperor's treasure. However, there were inscriptions on the heavenly star sword. If one forcefully broke the heavenly star sword, the secret would vanish. First, one had to decipher the inscriptions to open the heavenly star sword. In the past, Lu Ming had never found an inscriber to open the heavenly star sword because he felt that his cultivation was too weak. The martial emperor's treasure was left behind by the martial emperor. Without cultivation, even if the martial emperor's treasure was placed in front of him, he wouldn't be able to obtain it. With his previous cultivation, if he really entered the martial emperor's treasure, even the slightest danger would be enough to take his life. Lu Ming's mind was clear. He wouldn't go looking for the martial emperor's treasure as soon as he heard about it. But now, he had an idea. Even if he didn't go there now, he would first take a look at the martial emperor's treasure secret and its general location. Elder Huang, there's something hidden in the sword. However, the sword is protected by inscriptions. I would like to ask Elder Huang to break the inscriptions. Lu Ming said, Oh, that's easy. Elder Huang took the heavenly star sword and looked at it. This is only a low-level inscription. It's easy. Immediately after, old Huang's palms glowed. Inscriptions appeared on his palms, and he swiped them across the celestial star sword. The inscriptions on the celestial star sword appeared one after another and then collapsed. All right. The inscription has been broken. Take it. Elder Huang returned the heavenly star sword to Lu Ming. As for what was hidden in the heavenly star sword, Elder Huang had no interest in knowing. When Lu Ming received the heavenly star sword, he sighed inwardly. The methods of a sixth-rank inscription master were truly profound. Elder Huang, this junior would like to purchase a level 5 spear. Do you have it? Lu Ming didn't have any spears that were of great use at the moment. Before he could refine a level 6 spear, he could only purchase a level 5 spear for now. I do have a few level 5 spears. A dark purple spear appeared in Elder Huang's hand. This Thunder Wind spear can be considered the best among level 5 spiritual weapons. Take it. Consider it a gift from me. Elder Huang tossed the spear to Lu Ming. Thunder Wind spear. Lu Ming caught it and shook it slightly. Buzz. The spear shook and the space trembled slightly. Not bad. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This Thunder Wind spear was much better than the demon suppressing spear. It was enough for now. Lu Ming put it away and expressed his gratitude to Elder Huang. Go. Bring back the 1,000 refined blood gold as soon as possible. I'll help you forge a spear as soon as possible. Old Huang waved his hand and said. His eyes were once again fixed on the broken spear. Lu Ming and Mulins left Elder Huang's stone house. Lu Ming, the weapon forging sect, is extremely far from the Profound Heaven City. It's in the north of the Profound Heaven region. I heard that the battle between the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace is the most intense there. You have to be careful. Mulins warned. She was a little worried. Senior Sister Mulins, don't worry. I'm only going to get the 1,000 refined blood gold. I won't participate in the battle. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled. Oh, then when do you plan to set off? Mulins asked. Half a month later. Lu Ming replied. Since Elder Huang had to comprehend the inscriptions on the broken spear, he wouldn't be able to refine the infinite black gold so quickly. Lu Ming had the Thunder Wind spear to use now, so he wasn't in a hurry. Lu Ming planned to cultivate in the Profound Heaven City for a period of time and refine the remaining Fire Profound crystals before heading to the weapon forging sect. And that's good too. Mulins nodded. The two chatted as they walked. After a while, Mulins bid farewell to Lu Ming and returned. Lu Ming returned to the courtyard alone. The first thing he did was to take out the Heavenly Star Sword. Powerful true yuan poured into the surface of the Heavenly Star Sword. Lu Ming sensed that the center of the Heavenly Star Sword was indeed hollow. Clang! His true yuan shook violently. Now that Lu Ming's true yuan was so powerful, the Heavenly Star Sword couldn't withstand it at all. It cracked and shattered into pieces with a bang. Something was revealed from the Heavenly Star Sword. This is, seeing the thing inside the Heavenly Star Sword. Lu Ming's pupils shrank in shock. The thing inside the Heavenly Star Sword was actually a small jade sword. It was the size of a finger and was sparkling and translucent. More importantly, Lu Ming had seen this kind of jade sword before. Back in the Blazing Sun Empire, Xian Yinqing had obtained a jade sword in the Dongyi tribe's ruins. It was exactly the same as the one before him. At that time, Lu Ming had said that he wanted to use a king's storage ring to exchange for it, but Xian Yinqing had refused. The jade sword that Xian Yinqing had obtained was exactly the same as the one before him. Just what was the relationship between the two jade swords? Could it be that the jade sword that Xian Yinqing had obtained was also related to the martial monarch's treasure? Lu Ming frowned as he pondered. How do I use this jade sword? Lu Ming fiddled with it for a while. Then, he carefully poured his true yuan into the jade sword. Buzz. The jade sword trembled slightly. Then, inscriptions appeared on the surface of the sword. The inscriptions glowed, and a picture appeared in the air. To be more precise, it was a map with densely packed routes marked on it. There was also a line of words beside the map. Lu Ming came to a realization after reading it. This was indeed a map, and this jade sword was the key to the martial monarch's treasure. Most importantly, there were a total of 9 keys to the martial monarch's treasure. The martial monarch's treasure could only be opened when all 9 keys were gathered. 9 keys. Lu Ming let out a wry smile. It seems like Xian Yinqing's jade sword is most likely the key to the martial monarch's treasure, but where are the other keys? Have they fallen into someone else's hands? How can I gather them? Lu Ming kept thinking. He had no idea how long it would take to reach the martial monarch's treasure. Forget it. With my current cultivation, it would be very dangerous to enter the martial monarch's treasure. I should wait and see. Cultivation is the most important thing now. Having this thought, Lu Ming carefully put away the jade sword and adjusted his state of mind. He then began to cultivate diligently. He continued to comprehend the fire intent with the fire esoteric crystal. Chapter 549. Half a month later, Lu Ming had refined all the remaining fire profound crystals. Lu Ming's fire essence had reached the peak of level 1 lesser success. The next step would be level 1 greater success. Level 1 lesser success of fire essence. Does that mean I can reach the peak of LV6 Martial King Realm now? Lu Ming's eyes sparkled with anticipation. If his cultivation reached the peak of LV6 Martial King Realm, Lu Ming was confident that he could fight a King Realm expert. Even a King Realm expert of LV7 Martial King Realm would be no match for him. Thinking of this, Lu Ming immediately took out a large amount of supreme spiritual crystals. He planned to improve his cultivation first before going to the forging sect. Bang, bang, bang. A total of 50,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals exploded. The 9 dragons' bloodline roared and devoured all the energy of the crystals. Then, he began to refine them like crazy. However, after an hour, Lu Ming opened his eyes and stopped cultivating. His eyes were full of confusion. What's going on? Why is 90% of the energy in the crystals gone? Why can't I absorb it? Why is my cultivation increasing so slowly? Lu Ming frowned. When he was cultivating, he found that most of the energy from the crystals could not be absorbed by him and turned into genuine qi. Instead, it flowed out of his body and dissipated. Most of the 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals were wasted. Lu Ming had never encountered such a situation before. Essence, wind essence. When I was cultivating, the fire and thunder essences were too strong, and the wind essence was too weak. A huge gap was formed, which led to the loss of energy. Lu Ming kept thinking in his mind and finally came to this conclusion. But before, my thunder essence was the best, and the other 2 essences had not condensed any essence runes. Why didn't this happen? What's going on? Is it because the other 2 essences had not condensed any essence runes, so it was fine? But once they all condensed essence runes, this would happen? Yes, it must be so. Thinking of this, Lu Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. The drawbacks of cultivating so many concepts were finally beginning to show. When all the intents condensed into intent runes, all the intents had to be roughly balanced in order to increase one's cultivation. If many intents lost their balance, it would be very difficult to increase one's cultivation. Now, the concept of fire was much stronger than the concept of wind. It had exceeded a level. It was no wonder that others said that cultivating several states at the same time would become increasingly difficult. This didn't just mean that there would be a huge resistance when condensing concept runes. That was only one of the reasons. But when multiple intents were condensed into intent runes, an even greater drawback appeared. He had to cultivate many different intents at the same time and maintain a balance in order to increase his cultivation. If you gave up on all the other intents and only cultivated one type of intent after condensing all the intent runes, then even if you cultivated that intent to a high level, it would be very difficult for your cultivation to increase. If someone wanted to raise a concept first, then raise their cultivation, and then turn around to raise other concepts, it would not work. This was equivalent to stepping onto a path of no return. Once he stepped onto it, he would have to walk to the end. However, a person's energy was extremely limited. Their lifespan was also limited. One had to maintain multiple intents at the same time in order to increase one's cultivation. This speed was too slow. There were such people in history who cultivated multiple intents at the same time. But in the end, because they had to comprehend every single intent, their cultivation speed was extremely slow. In the end, their lifespan was exhausted and they turned into dust. Some people were even peerless geniuses. If they cultivated only one intent, their achievements would be limitless. But in the end, their ambitions were too great and they died on this path. There were too few people who could complete this path. They were all rare geniuses. Nest, if I had known, I wouldn't have cultivated the concept of fire to such a high level. Lu Ming was somewhat speechless. However, Lu Ming wasn't too worried. He had the enlightenment ancient tree. Even if he cultivated 3 intents at the same time, his speed would still be faster than others. Moreover, as long as the enlightenment ancient tree grew in the future, his speed of comprehending the concept of heaven and earth would definitely be faster. Forget it. Next, I'll focus on comprehending the concept of wind. I originally wanted to put it aside, but it looks like I can't. I'd better go to the forging sect first. I'll cultivate on the way, Lu Ming muttered. Immediately after, Lu Ming stood up and left the courtyard. Not long after, Lu Ming left the profound heaven city. He soared into the sky and flew towards the north. The forging sect was located in the northern part of the profound heaven region. It was located at the intersection of the central and northern parts of the profound heaven region. It was extremely far away from the profound heaven region. Currently, the Heavenly Corpse sect had already occupied the northern part of the profound heaven region. The vast territory was completely under the Heavenly Corpse sect's control. Currently, the territory of the Forging sect was at the front line of the war between the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. It was extremely chaotic there. Lu Ming wasn't in a hurry. Not long after he left the profound heaven region, he rushed into a large mountain and captured a half-step king-level swift gale eagle. He sat cross-legged on the swift gale eagle and flew towards the forging sect. The swift gale eagle's speed was extremely fast. A half-step king-level swift gale eagle's speed wasn't inferior to some martial king-level cultivators. Moreover, its endurance was extremely good. Lu Ming could use the swift gale eagle to travel while cultivating and comprehending the concept of wind. Lu Ming took out the Tao-comprehending ancient tree and placed it beside him. Then, he took out a profound wind crystal. He had a total of 40 profound wind crystals on him, all of which he had won from the Shang clan in a bet. Crushing the profound wind crystal, Lu Ming started to comprehend the concept of wind. Just like this, Lu Ming traveled while cultivating. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. In a month's time, he had already refined all 40 profound wind crystals. As for the concept of wind, he had also made a breakthrough. He was only a step away from the initial success of the first stage. At this time, Lu Ming had also arrived at the territory near the Forging sect. This territory was in the middle of the war between the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The Forging sect was also a subsidiary power of the Heavenly Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Naturally, they would stand on the Heavenly Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's side against the Heavenly Corpse sect. Go! Lu Ming patted the swift gale eagle that he had been riding for a month. Then, his figure moved and he flew forward alone. At this point, the swift gale eagle was already useless. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming hadn't flown for long when the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. 2 huge coffins stopped in front of Lu Ming. They were from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Hee hee, my luck is pretty good today. I just came out for a walk and I met a little brat. His cultivation seems to be pretty good. I can take him back and refine him into a new corpse. A dry laugh came from the coffin. Today's one should be mine. The next one should be yours. An unpleasant voice came out from the other coffin. All right, I'll let you have him. Let's end this quickly. After dealing with this little brat, we'll go elsewhere and see if there's any prey. The voice from the previous coffin sounded out again. The prey you're talking about, is it me? Lu Ming had a faint smile on his face. Nonsense, if it's not you, then who is it? Little brat, don't even think about escaping. You won't be able to escape from the 2 of us. Chapter 550. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered and formed a long spear with his true essence. The long spear quickly grew to 1,000 meters long and whipped toward the 2 coffins. Its power was extremely shocking. No. It's a king of lower success. How is this possible? 2 panicked cries came from the coffins. At the same time, the coffins flew backward, trying to escape. But how could they escape? Boom! The huge spear light directly hit the 2 coffins. The coffins exploded and 6 figures appeared. 2 old zombie guards and 4 refined corpses. The 2 zombie guards were 3rd layer Martial King Realm, and the 4 refined corpses were also 3rd layer Martial King Realm. However, Under Lu Ming's spear light, they could not withstand a single blow. The spear light shrouded and suppressed them. The two zombie guards screamed and were torn apart along with the four refined corpses. His true essence rolled up and put away the two storage rings. Then, Lu Ming did not stop and continued to move forward. After a few hundred miles, a series of explosions came from the front. Someone was fighting. Lu Ming frowned and pondered for a while. Then, he walked toward the direction of the sound. 10 miles away, two parties were fighting. One party was obviously from the Heavenly Corpse sect. The other party had a total of 6 people. One of them was a young woman in her 20s. She was as beautiful as a flower. There were 2 other young men, and the remaining 3 were middle-aged men. But now, the 6 of them were completely at a disadvantage and were surrounded by the people of the Heavenly Corpse sect. The Heavenly Corpse sect had 8 zombie guards and 17 refined corpses. Their strength was far above the 6 people. Lu Ming quietly appeared not far away. He hid in a remote place and looked forward. The strongest zombie guards are 2 mid-4th layer Martial King realm. Lu Ming could tell the cultivation level of everyone present at one glance. On the Heavenly Corpse sect side, there were 2 4th layer Martial King realm kings controlling 4 refined corpses. The other corpse guards were either 3rd layer Martial Emperor realm or 2nd layer Martial Emperor realm. As for the group of 6, there was only one middle-aged man with a cultivation of the peak 4th layer Martial Emperor realm. The other 2 middle-aged men were only at the 3rd layer Martial Emperor realm. As for the 2 young men and the young woman, they were all 2nd layer Martial Emperor realm cultivators. They were relying on the middle-aged man with a cultivation of the peak 4th layer Martial Emperor realm to barely resist the attacks from all directions. However, he would not be able to hold on for long on his own. "Kaka, that little girl is not bad. She's so soft and tender. I'll catch her and play with her. Then I'll refine her into a refined corpse and bring her along with me every day. That would be a great joy in life, Kaka." The shriveled old zombie guard let out an ear-piercing laugh. He was one of the 2 mid-4th level Martial King zombie guards. "Old ghost, don't even think about it. I'd rather die than submit." The young woman cried out with a pale face. "You would rather die than submit? If you die, I can refine you into a refined corpse, hee." The old zombie guard let out a weird laugh. The young woman's face turned even paler. She then clenched her teeth, and lines of inscriptions appeared on her jade-like palms. With a wave of her hands, 3 battle swords danced around her body before slashing at the old zombie guard. However, they were easily blocked by a refined corpse. What a strange way of attacking. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with curiosity. He realized that the attacking methods of the 6 people were very unique. Just like the young woman, inscriptions appeared on their palms as they controlled several mystical weapons at the same time to attack their opponents. Furthermore, the power that each spirit weapon could unleash was extremely powerful. The martial artists that Lu Ming had seen before usually used a mystical weapon in order to unleash the strongest power of their martial skills. For example, Lu Ming was able to unleash the strongest power of his spear art with a long spear. As for those who used a battle sword, they were able to unleash the strongest power of their sword art. It was Lu Ming's first time seeing someone controlling several mystical weapons at the same time. However, although the method of controlling the mystical weapons was mysterious, the difference in strength was too great. They were no match for the 6 people. Not long after, 2 middle-aged 3rd layer Martial King realm men were injured and vomited blood. "Big brother, take the young lady and break out of the encirclement. We'll hold them off here." One of the men yelled at the peak 4th layer Martial King realm man. "That's right. Nothing can happen to the young lady." The other man also yelled, "No, we'll leave together." The young woman yelled, "Hee, you want to leave? How is that possible? Today, none of you will leave." The old zombie guard sneered, "Big brother, quick, take the young lady and break out of here to find reinforcements." One of the men continued to yell, "All right." The 4th layer Martial King realm man clenched his teeth and madly charged in one direction, while yelling, "Young lady, follow me. Break out? Trying to break out? In your dreams, deal with that guy with all your strength." The old zombie guard sneered as he controlled the refined corpse to pounce at the man without fear of death. At the same time, the other fourth-layer Martial King Realm Zombie Guard also controlled the refined corpse to pounce at the man. The man controlled 4 sabers at the same time and slashed wildly, but it was useless as they were all blocked. Damn it! He let out a furious roar, his voice filled with despair. Kaka, don't even think about escaping. Little beauty, serve this old man obediently. If you serve this old man well, this old man might be merciful and not refine you into a refined corpse. The old zombie guard sneered. Old bastard, go to hell. The young woman was in despair as she clenched her teeth and attacked the old zombie guard. However, she was easily blocked by a third-layer Martial King Realm refined corpse. The zombie guard of the Heavenly Corpse sect did not seem to be in a hurry to kill them. It teased the young woman and the others like a cat playing with a mouse. Oh, I see. Lu Ming glanced to the east and west as a cold grin appeared on his face. He discovered that there were auras hiding in the east and west. Although the auras were very weak, Lu Ming could still sense them. The auras were all from the zombie guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. They're trying to attract the young woman's reinforcements and catch them all in one fell swoop. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. However, the strongest aura among them is only at the 5th-layer Martial King realm. Lu Ming let out a cold grin as he no longer concealed himself and walked out in large strides. Who's there? As soon as Lu Ming walked out, the zombie guard of the Heavenly Corpse sect noticed Lu Ming and yelled. Of course it's the one who's here to kill you. Lu Ming sneered. Hee hee, little bastard, you're alone? You're courting death. The old zombie guard let out a strange laugh. At this moment, the young woman and the others also looked at Lu Ming. When they saw that Lu Ming was alone and was so young, they were immediately disappointed. Young hero, leave quickly, don't worry about us. The young woman yelled. Lu Ming was alone. If they did not leave, they would also be killed. Beauty, it's okay. I'll leave after I kill these monsters of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming smiled brightly at the young woman. Chapter 551. Brat, you're talking big. Kill him. The old zombie guard waved his hand. Immediately, a third-layer Martial King zombie guard controlled a third-layer Martial King refined corpse to attack Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming lifted his leg and kicked the zombie guard away. It flew at least 1,000 meters and hit a cliff, almost breaking it. It lay there motionless. Everyone was dumbfounded. A third-layer Martial King refined corpse was destroyed by Lu Ming with a kick. Was it still a refined corpse with copper skin and iron bones? When did it become so fragile? 4th-layer Martial King, you're a 4th-layer Martial King? The old zombie guard yelled. They were shocked that he had reached the 4th-layer Martial King at such a young age. The eyes of the young woman and the others also lit up. With one more 4th-layer Martial King Lesser Success King, they might have a chance to rush out. Little brother, come and help me. Let's rush out together. The man at the peak 4th-layer Martial King yelled. However, Lu Ming did not seem to hear him. He said with a smile, why rush out? Just kill them. After saying this, Lu Ming walked toward the old zombie guard step by step. Brat, so what if you're a 4th-layer Martial King? You want to kill me? In your dreams. The old zombie guard roared and immediately controlled a 4th-layer Martial King zombie guard to attack Lu Ming. 5 or 6 black iron chains pierced toward Lu Ming. There was a faint smile at the corner of Lu Ming's mouth. He stretched out his hand and grabbed 5 to 6 iron chains. Then, he activated the thunder essence and shook his arm. Sizzle! A huge force of thunder and lightning followed the iron chains and blasted toward the 4th-layer Martial King refined corpse. Bang! The refined corpse was directly burned into charcoal by the force of thunder and lightning. At this moment, the old zombie guard's face changed. His dry and pale face turned pale and his eyes flashed with shock. How could he so easily defeat a 4th-layer Martial King realm refined corpse? How was that possible? This young man's combat strength was too strong. As for the young woman and the others, their eyes lit up. Perhaps they would be saved today. You are a DT Divine Guard. You are a genius among the DT Divine Guards. The old zombie guard shouted. To have such a cultivation base and battle prowess at such a young age, He could only be a top genius among the Tion Divine Guards. You guessed right. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Kakik. It's worth it to be able to kill a genius from the Tion Divine Guard today. Do it. The old zombie guard sneered, then suddenly roared, his voice spreading far and wide. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, a deafening sonic boom echoed from the east and west as coffins flew over one after another. On each side, there were more than 20 coffins. In total, there were more than 50 coffins in both directions. Ambush, there's an ambush. At this moment, the faces of the young woman and the others were as pale as paper, and they were filled with despair. Young hero, leave quickly. Don't worry about us. The young woman shouted. Lu Ming smiled faintly. This young lady was kind-hearted. However, this was already within Lu Ming's expectations. More than 50 zombie guards. Fortunately, I still have a lot of soul-sealing crystals on me. When I seal their souls and bring them back, they will all be rewards. Lu Ming thought to himself. The rewards for sealing the souls of the Heavenly Corpse Sect zombie guards were not limited to the scaled demon plane. It was the same in other places. As long as one killed the zombie guards, sealed their souls, and brought them back, there would be rewards. Young hero, leave quickly. Seeing Lu Ming standing still, the young woman became anxious. It's too late to leave now. The old zombie guard sneered. Whoosh! The coffins flew above everyone's heads from 2 different directions. They were so dark that they blocked the sunlight in the sky. Bang! At this moment, Lu Ming stomped on the ground and his figure soared into the sky, dashing toward the high altitude. He wants to escape. Stop him! The old zombie guard shouted. Several iron chains flew out from one of the coffins and wrapped around Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand and sent them flying. Lu Ming rushed into the sky. Escape? Who wants to escape? Lu Ming's indifferent voice came out. In the next moment, Lu Ming looked down and took a step. After taking a step forward, he took another step forward. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming took 3 steps in a row. 9 dragons heaven-stomping steps, 3 steps in a row. Boom. The whole world seemed to be about to explode. An incomparably terrifying force violently rushed towards the coffins. Bang, bang, bang. More than 50 coffins exploded as if they were made of paper. Several figures appeared from the coffins. Some of the zombie guards with weaker cultivations directly exploded, dying tragically on the spot. Some of the stronger zombie guards also spat out large mouthfuls of blood. 10,000 dragons kill. As the 3 intents gathered, Lu Ming's spear shuddered and fired at least a few hundred spear glows, which transformed into a few hundred tricolor dragons that lunged at the zombie guards. Cries of agony could be heard. Regardless of the zombie guards' cultivation level, they were all unable to resist the attacks. Their bodies were torn apart by the tricolor dragons, and their corpses fell to the ground like raindrops. For a moment, only some of the stronger, refined corpses remained in the air, as motionless as a log. More than 50 zombie guards were killed in an instant. Below, everyone was stunned, no longer fighting. They just stood there, staring blankly at the sky, completely petrified. Heavens, more than 50 zombie guards, including more than 10 4th-layer and 5th-layer martial emperors, were killed in an instant. Not a single one managed to escape. What kind of strength was that? Was he a greater success emperor? But a greater success emperor at such a young age? How many were there in the Tianqian region? The crowd could not wrap their heads around it. Oi! Monster! Monster! Run! Run! After a while, the old zombie guard came to his senses and screamed in fear. He frantically ran to one side. But swoosh! A spear glow fell from the sky and nailed him to the ground. Swoosh! 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 Then, spear after spear fell and nailed the other zombie guards to the ground, leaving none alive. Then, Lu Ming waved his hand and more than 50 soul-sealing crystals flew out. They sealed the souls of all the zombie guards and stored them away. There are only so many soul-sealing crystals left. If we kill more zombie guards, there won't be any left. Lu Ming sighed. If he had known earlier, he would have bought more soul-sealing crystals. After storing them away, Lu Ming moved and appeared beside the young woman and the others. "Greetings, Lord Divine Guard." Apart from the young woman, the others quickly bowed to Lu Ming. Such a young and powerful Dtion Divine Guard must have a high status in the Dtion Divine Palace. Naturally, they were respectful. No need to be so polite. I just happened to pass by. The Heavenly Corpse sect and the Dtion Divine Guard are mortal enemies. Since I saw you, I naturally won't let you go. Lu Ming said with a smile. "Lord Divine Guard, you are so powerful. Your name is Xianxiang. May I know your name?" The young woman's eyes lit up as she looked at Lu Ming. It was her first time seeing such a young and powerful genius. "I am Lu Ming." Chapter 552. Master Lu Ming, you're so powerful. The geniuses of our crafting sect are nothing compared to you. Xianxiang looked at Lu Ming with sparkling eyes. Ahem. Lu Ming felt a little embarrassed. He coughed a few times before he came to his senses. "Are you from the forging sect?" "Yes, my father is the sect leader of the crafting sect." Xianxiang had no ulterior motives. She said it directly. She stared at Lu Ming curiously. "Ahem, miss, please mind your manners." The burly man reminded her. "Mind what?" "Master Lu Ming is one of us." Xianxiang chuckled. Lu Ming smiled as well. This Xianxiang was obviously a young lady who had no experience and was not scheming. "Miss Xianxiang, everyone, I'm going to the crafting sect to look for your sect leader." Lu Ming said. "You're going to the crafting sect to look for my father? That's great. Let's go together." Xianxiang's eyes lit up. "Okay." Lu Ming nodded. The others were also overjoyed. With Lu Ming with them, they had nothing to fear from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Then, the group of people went on their way to the north. "Sir Lu Ming, you are really amazing. You are so powerful at such a young age. How did you cultivate?" "Master Lu Ming, you're so powerful. What's your rank in the Imperial Sky Divine Guards? How many geniuses like you are in the Imperial Sky Divine Guards?" "Master Lu Ming, do you have a girlfriend? Why don't I introduce one to you?" "I'll introduce myself." "Hee, I'm just kidding." "Master Lu Ming, I heard that Shang Xingqian is the #1 genius in the Tianqian domain and is on the list of top 1,000 talents. How do you compare to him, Master Lu Ming? Have you seen him before, Master Lu Ming?" Along the way, Xianxiang followed by Lu Ming's side, her mouth rattling, asking non-stop. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and cast a pleading look at the others beside him. However, they all revealed helpless expressions and turned their heads away, pretending that they did not see anything. Lu Ming felt a headache coming on. After flying for hundreds of miles, Xianxiang asked at least dozens of questions. At this moment, Lu Ming's reinforcements arrived. Whoosh, whoosh. In front of them, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. More than 50 people were flying towards them at an extremely fast speed. Every one of them had a strong aura. They were obviously experts. The leader was a young man in a white robe. "It's Xianzhong," a burly man at the side said. Soon, more than 50 people arrived. "Xiang, are you all right?" The young man in the lead looked at Xianxiang with concern and asked, "Humph, it would be strange if we were fine. If it were up to you, we would have died long ago. Why did you come so late?" Xianxiang curled her lips and snorted coldly. Xianzhong's face changed and said, "Did you guys meet someone from the Heavenly Corpse sect?" "Nonsense, of course we met. If it wasn't for Master Lu Ming, you wouldn't be able to see me. Let me introduce you guys. This is Master Lu Ming, a Dtion Divine Guard. Master Lu Ming is a peerless genius. Those corpse guards were killed by Master Lu Ming in a few moves. This is the first time I've seen such a powerful genius." Xianxiang stood beside Lu Ming and introduced him to everyone with a look of admiration. However, she did not see that a trace of coldness flashed in Xianzhong's eyes. "Dtion Divine Guard? Xiang, he really is a member of the Dtion Divine Guard. Don't be fooled by him. Maybe he was sent by the Heavenly Corpse sect to get close to you. You also know that people from the Heavenly Corpse sect have been appearing more frequently around the weapon forging sect recently." Xianzhong looked at Lu Ming unkindly and said coldly, You're talking nonsense. Master Lu Ming is so powerful. He must be a genius among the Dtian divine guards. Moreover, he killed so many corpse guards in a few moves. If he's from the Heavenly Corpse sect, how could he kill so many corpse guards? Moreover, those disgusting fellows from the Heavenly Corpse sect are all so ugly. How could they be as good-looking as Master Lu Ming? Xin Xiang retorted loudly. Lu Ming smiled bitterly at the side. Xin Xiang was really naive and innocent. Xin Zhong was obviously interested in Xin Xiang, but Xin Xiang still praised Lu Ming. Didn't this make Xin Zhong even more unhappy? As expected, Xin Zhong's face became even gloomier. A trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "Lu Ming, right? Now that I've arrived, we're going back to the weapon-forging sect. Please leave." In other words, he wanted Lu Ming to leave. "Hey, Xin Zhong, why are you like this? What's with your attitude? Master Lu Ming saved me before. Moreover, he's going to the weapon-forging sect to see my father. He can go back with us." Xin Xiang's face darkened and she said unhappily, "He's going to the weapon-forging sect too? No. What if he has evil intentions?" Xin Zhong said with a gloomy face, "This is my divine guard token. Do you want to take a look?" Before Xin Zhong could finish his words, Lu Ming interrupted him and took out his divine guard token. Lu Ming was going to the weapon-forging sect to ask for the 1,000 refined blood gold. He couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Xin Zhong. Seeing Lu Ming take out his divine guard token, Xin Zhong's face became even gloomier. The weapon-forging sect was affiliated to the Dtian Divine Palace. Since Lu Ming was really a Dtian Divine Guard, Xin Zhong had no reason to stop Lu Ming from going to the weapon-forging sect. Humph. I already said that Master Lu Ming is a genius among the Dtian Divine Guards. Someone didn't believe me. Humph. Xin Xiang snorted coldly. This made Xin Zhong's face turn even uglier. Let's go. Let's go back to the weapon-forging sect. Xin Zhong waved his hand and led the way. The group continued to head towards the north. Along the way, Xin Xiang followed Lu Ming and chatted with him. From Xin Xiang, Lu Ming found out that Xin Zhong was the only son of the weapon-forging sect's great elder. He was also the #1 genius among the younger generation in the weapon-forging sect. He was only 28 years old, and he had already reached Martial King Realm lower tier. Lu Ming nodded his head. Such talent was considered top-notch even in the Dtian Divine Palace, where geniuses were as common as clouds. Lu Ming could also tell that Xin Xiang had some feelings for Xin Zhong. Lu Ming naturally didn't think that Xin Xiang liked him. Xin Xiang was just a simple-minded girl who worshipped experts. When she saw a genius like Lu Ming for the first time, she naturally admired him and was curious about him. However, she didn't like him. In front of them, Xin Zhong's face turned gloomier when he saw Xin Xiang and Lu Ming chatting happily. Murderous intent constantly flashed in his eyes. They chatted as they hurried on. Soon, they had covered a distance of 10,000 miles. A huge and majestic mountain appeared in front of them. This was the weapon-forging sect. Following Xin Xiang, they entered the weapon-forging sect without any obstructions and arrived at the peak of the mountain. "Miss Xin Xiang, young Master Xin Zhong, you are back. The sect master and the elders are having a meeting in the meeting hall. I'll inform them about it," a white-haired old man said as he appeared in front of them. All right. Grandpa Zhong, please inform my father that Lu Ming, the Dtian Divine Guard of the Dtian Divine Palace, has something to discuss with him." Xin Xiang nodded her head. "Oh, all right." Chapter 553. Not long after, the white-haired elder returned. "Miss Xin Xiang, the sect master has asked you to enter," the elder said. Immediately, Lu Ming, Xin Xiang, and Xin Zhong followed the elder into the hall. As for the others, they dispersed. They followed the elder and passed through several checkpoints before arriving at a large hall. There were 8 people sitting in the hall. Sitting at the top was a middle-aged man with a square face. He was extremely burly. "Father," Xin Xiang called out with a smile as soon as she came in. This burly man was the sect master of the crafting sect, Xin Long. "I heard that you were attacked by the corpse guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. How are you? Are you all right? You little girl, I told you not to run around, but you didn't listen. Xianlong stood up from his seat and walked down. He looked at Xianxiang carefully and scolded her with a smile. Obviously, Xianlong had received the news that Xianxiang and the others had encountered the corpse guards. Father, I'm blessed with good fortune. I have a benefactor to help me. What are you afraid of? Come, let me introduce you. This is Lu Ming, a peerless genius among the Deteon Divine Guards. Those zombie guards are powerless in the hands of Lord Lu Ming. Be it novice kings, all of them are useless. Xianxiang pulled Xianlong's arm and said with a smile. Then, she looked at Lu Ming and introduced him to Xianlong. Xianlong and the others smiled. They did not pay much attention to Xianxiang's words about Lu Ming's strength. Lu Ming looked like he was in his 20s. Even if he was a genius among the Divine Guards, how strong could his cultivation be? How strong could his combat strength be? It was already amazing for him to reach the 4th level Martial King realm. In their opinion, Xianxiang was innocent and rarely went out. She was just a little excited to see a decent genius. However, Lu Ming was after all a Divine Guard. There were still some rules that could not be ignored. Xianlong cupped his fists and said, "Little brother Lu Ming, thank you for saving us this time." "You're welcome, Sect Master Xian. It's just a small matter." Lu Ming returned the gesture. "I heard that you have something to ask me." "What is it?" Xianlong said. "Sect Leader Xian, it's like this. Elder Huang asked me to come." Lu Ming did not beat around the bush. He took out the small pagoda that Elder Huang had given him. Elder Huang. At this moment, not only Xianlong, but the expressions of the others in the hall also changed slightly. It really is Elder Huang. Xianlong sized up Lil Pagoda, his face filled with respect. He couldn't help but think more highly of Lu Ming. According to what he knew, this pagoda was Elder Huang's keepsake. He wouldn't easily give it to others, but now he had given it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's position in Elder Huang's heart wasn't low. Elder Huang has done me a great favor, and even the weapon forging sect owes him a great favor. It's a pity that he hasn't come to the weapon forging sect for more than 20 years. May I ask why you've called this little brother here? Xianlong asked in a much more polite tone. It's nothing major. Recently, Elder Huang has been wanting to forge a spirit weapon and is lacking materials. He called me here to see if I can ask the sect master for a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold. Lu Ming said, 1,000 refined blood gold. Xianlong and the others' expressions changed once again. 1,000 refined blood gold. You want 1,000 refined blood gold? Impossible. We can't give you 1,000 refined blood gold. A voice rang out. It was Xianzhong. At this moment, Xianzhong's expression was extremely ugly. He looked at Lu Ming with hostility and said, Brat, do you know how precious 1,000 refined blood gold is? We don't even have enough people in the crafting sect. The entire crafting sect can only forge one piece of 1,000 refined blood gold in a few years. Who do you think you are to ask for 1,000 refined blood gold? Don't even think about it. Xianzhong, shut up. What's with your attitude? How dare you speak to little brother Lu like that? Xianlong shouted, glaring at Xianzhong with rage. Sect Master, Xianzhong was startled by Xianlong's anger and kept his mouth shut. Little brother Lu is here on Elder Huang's request. What is a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold? Little brother Lu, a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold is not a problem. Xianlong said, Sect Master, there's only one piece of 1,000 refined blood gold left in the sect. You said it was for me. How can you give it to him now? Xianzhong shouted again. That's right. At this moment, a man in his 50s with a long beard stood up and said, Sect Master, since we said it was for Zhong it belongs to him. We can't just give it to him because of Elder Huang's words. If Elder Huang wants it, that's fine. We'll forge another piece of 1,000 refined blood gold in a few years, and I'll personally give it to Elder Huang. This man with a long beard was the crafting sect's grand elder and also Xianzhong's father, Xian Yuan. Xianlong frowned and said, Elder Huang has not only shown great kindness to me, but also to all of you. Without him, we wouldn't be where we are today. We haven't repaid his kindness for many years. Since Elder Huang has spoken, it must be urgent. There's no reason to refuse. I've already made up my mind. This piece of 1,000 refined blood gold will be given to little brother Lu. As for Xianzhong, we'll wait a few years. No, sect master, I refuse to accept this, Xianzhong shouted. Who knows where this brat came from? Who knows if he was sent by Elder Huang? Even if he was, who does he think he is? How can he take my 1,000 refined blood gold? Impossible, I refuse. Xianzhong, that piece of 1,000 refined blood gold isn't yours yet. Father only said that he wanted to give it to you, but that was only on purpose. Xianxiang glared at Xianzhong. Xiang, you. Good, very good. Xianzhong repeatedly said, good, before turning to Lu Ming with a sinister expression. Brat, I don't care who you are, or who sent you here. Treasures belong to the strong. If you want the 1,000 refined blood gold, fine, but we'll have to see how capable you are. I heard that you're very strong. Come, let's fight. If you can beat me, I'll give the 1,000 refined blood gold to you. Lu Ming bitterly smiled. He didn't expect that a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold would cause such a commotion. It seemed that the 1,000 refined blood gold was more precious than he had imagined. Lu Ming felt a little embarrassed and said, Brother Xian, there's no need for a fight. How about this? I'll buy the 1,000 refined blood gold with spirit crystals. How about that? Buy it with spirit crystals? Fine. I'll sell it to you as long as you take out 10 million spirit crystals. Xianzhong sneered. Xianlong frowned at his words. Lu Ming also frowned. Xianzhong. Xianxiang glared at Xianzhong and said, You're clearly making things difficult for him. How can a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold cost 10 million spirit crystals? Xianzhong clenched his teeth and looked at Lu Ming with disdain. What? Brat, you don't have spirit crystals and you don't dare to fight? What genius of the Empyrean Divine Guards? Bullshit. All you can do is trick Xiangxiang. Show your true colors now. In my opinion, Elder Huang must be lying to you. Lu Ming frowned. Seeing that Lu Ming didn't speak, Xianzhong became even more aggressive and said, Brat, kneel down and apologize. Then get lost and I'll forgive your crime of deceit. Enough. Xianzhong, little brother Lu has Elder Huang's token. It can't be fake. In the Tianjin region, if Elder Huang isn't willing, no one can obtain his token. Chapter 554. Sect Master, in my opinion, the reason why Elder Huang called a young man here is to test him. Let the young people settle their own matters. We shouldn't interfere. Xin Yuan said. All right. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly spoke. He looked at Xianzhong and said, Since you want to fight, I'll keep you company. All right. I've been waiting for you to say that. Let's fight outside. Seeing that Lu Ming had accepted the challenge, Xianzhong's eyes flashed coldly and he strode outside. Lu Ming followed closely behind. Xianlong let out a sigh and walked out of the hall with the other elders. That Xianzhong is really despicable, Xianxiang snorted. Outside the hall was a spacious square that was perfect for a fight. Lu Ming and Xianzhong stood opposite each other. Brother Xian, how about we stop when it's appropriate? Lu Ming said. After all, he was the one who came to the blacksmith sect to ask for the 1,000 refined blood gold. Therefore, Lu Ming felt a little embarrassed. Stop when it's appropriate? Hee. On the battlefield, swords have no eyes. If you're afraid, quickly admit defeat. Xianzhong's aura was imposing. Lu Ming frowned again. Buzz. At this moment, Xianzhong's aura exploded. At the same time, inscriptions appeared on his palm. With a wave of his hand, a total of 5 spiritual weapons appeared. These 5 spirit weapons were all different from each other. There were 2 battle swords, a saber, a spear, and a dagger. Kill! Xianzhong shouted and pounced on Lu Ming. At the same time, the 5 spiritual weapons also charged at Lu Ming. Buzz. The 5 spiritual weapons came from different directions and slashed at Lu Ming's vital points. Their attacks were swift and vicious. It didn't seem like a spar, but a battle. Lu Ming frowned. His figure swayed, avoiding a few spirit weapons and appearing in another direction. Trying to dodge? You wish. Die. Xianzhong's eyes were filled with vicious killing intent. He waved his hands, and the 5 spirit weapons continued to attack Lu Ming at lightning speed. The weapon forging sect's method of controlling weapons was truly wondrous. Lu Ming executed his movement technique, wanting to dodge. At this moment, Xian Zhong revealed a ruthless expression and shook his sleeve. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More than 10 sharp piercing sounds could be heard. More than 10 sharp steel needles flew out from Xian Zhong's sleeves and pierced Lu Ming's eyes at lightning speed. Xian Zhong, you're despicable, Xian Xiang shouted. Damn it, Xian Long roared in anger. However, it was too late for him to save Xian Long. At this moment, Xian Long was filled with regret. If he had known this would happen, he would have directly given Lu Ming the 1,000 refined blood metal and allowed Lu Ming to return to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. If Lu Ming died in Xian Zhong's hands, he really didn't know how to explain it to Elder Huang. Don't push your luck. At this moment, Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. Boom. Following which, a terrifying aura exploded from Lu Ming's body. A huge spear radiance shot out from Lu Ming's body and soared into the sky. When the steel needles came into contact with the spear radiance, they exploded and turned into iron powder. Boom. Lu Ming waved his hand, and the huge spear radiance swept towards Xian Zhong. Bam! Bam! The 5 spiritual weapons were sent flying a few thousand meters away by the spear radiance. The huge spear radiance continued towards Xian Zhong. Xian Zhong was completely stunned. In front of Lu Ming's terrifying aura, he was like a pitiful worm. Stop! Grand Elder Xian Yuan shouted from the side. However, would Lu Ming care about him? Bam! The spear radiance struck Xian Zhong's body and sent him flying. He slid a few thousand meters on the square and spat out blood from his mouth. Of course, this was because Lu Ming had purposely held back and only used 10% of his strength. Otherwise, Xian Zhong would have been blasted into nothingness. Zhonger! Xian Yuan rushed over to check on Xian Zhong's injuries. Such powerful combat strength. He is only at the early stage of LV4 Martial King Realm, but his combat strength should be at the late stage of LV5 Martial King Realm or even the peak of LV5 Martial King Realm. Not bad. He is so young, and yet he has such cultivation and combat strength. No wonder he is a genius among the Dtion Divine Guards. Xian Zhong's defeat is justified. The elders of the blacksmith sect discussed and exclaimed. Xian Zhong was also at the early stage of LV4 Martial King Realm, but he could not withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. If they knew that Lu Ming had only used 10% of his strength, what would their expressions be? Humph, I told you that Lu Ming is a peerless genius, but Xian Zhong did not listen. Now he is beaten. Xian Xiang snorted and walked over to check on Xian Zhong. Xian Zhong's injuries were not serious. He stood up and looked at Lu Ming in shock. But deep in his eyes, there was a trace of murderous intent, but he hid it. All right, since little brother Lu has won, the 1,000 refined blood gold belongs to little brother Lu, Xian Long announced. He then looked at Lu Ming and smiled. Little brother Lu, the 1,000 refined blood gold is still in the demonic beast blood pool. If you want to take it out, you will have to wait until tomorrow. How about you stay in the blacksmith sect for a night, and I will give you the 1,000 refined blood gold tomorrow. No problem. Thank you, Sect Master Xian. Lu Ming cupped his fists. Xian Long then asked someone to arrange a room for Lu Ming. Lord Lu Ming, let me show you around. There are some interesting places in the blacksmith sect. Xian Xiang smiled. All right. Lu Ming smiled and nodded. The blacksmith sect was indeed a great blacksmith sect. There were places and secret rooms for blacksmithing everywhere. Lu Ming followed Xian Xiang and wandered around with great interest. As for Xian Xiang, she was also chattering away. Her curiosity was very strong, asking nonstop. Since young, Xian Xiang had always been active in the area around the blacksmith sect. She had never left the sect, so she was very curious about the outside world. Lu Ming also had a good impression of Xian Xiang. Although Xian Xiang was a few years older than Lu Ming, she was like a naughty little sister in front of Lu Ming. Therefore, Lu Ming would briefly talk about the things that could be said. Lu Ming only left Xian Xiang in the evening and returned to his residence. Then, he entered the Temple of Paragon and placed the Enlightenment ancient tree beside him. Lu Ming continued to comprehend the concept of wind. In the blacksmith sect, 3 figures sat in the Grand Elder's living room. One was the Grand Elder, Xin Yuan, and the other was Xin Zhong. The last one was a burly man in his 30s. Father, I will definitely take revenge. I will definitely kill that little bastard Lu Ming. Xin Zhong roared, and his eyes were filled with hatred. Don't worry. I don't care if that little bastard is Elder Huang's man. He must die. Xin Yuan's eyes flashed coldly. Father, when are we going to carry out the plan? Xin Zhong asked. You've finally thought it through? Are you going to carry out the plan? Xin Yuan asked. I was reluctant to let that bitch Xin Xiang go. But now, that bitch has only seen that little bastard Lu Ming for a short while, and she's already flirting with him. Damn it. All of them deserve to die. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.